Battled student funding body NSFAS has a new administrator. Freeman Mbulu, the former SA Accountant General and Institute of Chartered Accountants CEO, has been appointed to steer the ship for the next 2 years. His appointment was published in the Government Gazette by Higher Education Minister Dr. Blade Nzimande on Friday, just a day after the board was dissolved with immediate effect. The minister placed the scheme under administration because of the fund's failure to distribute funding for students timelessly. Mbulu is faced with the mammoth task of resolving current issues and overseeing applications for the 2025 academic year. Meanwhile, the DA and Action SA are calling for the immediate resignation of Nzimande. Earlier this week, at the commemoration of the SAP's General Secretary, Hani's murder, Nzimande told a crowd gathered to commemorate Hani that the celebrated anti-apartheid activist hated corruption. The anniversary of Hani's passing is a perfect time for leaders such as Nzimande to question what Hani would have said about the sufferings of the youth under his watch. Joining me now is Professor Mbulu Madiba, Dean of Education at Stellenbosch University. Prof, very good afternoon. Thank you so much for speaking to us. So I suppose the first place I'd like to start off is with the appointment of a substantive CEO, at least for the next 2 years for NSFAS. What do you read into this development?
Yeah, Hugo, thank you very much to you, and good afternoon to you and the viewers. Look, I think this is we need to accept we are going through a very difficult time. You will recall that this is not for the first time that the NSFAS was put under administration. It was under administration from 2018 to 2020. Now we are back again, hardly a few years down the line to the same place. So I'm not so sure if we really were able to diagnose the problem. What is the main problem here? What is going on with NSFAS? Is this a problem that can be challenged, that can be really addressed by one person? I don't believe so. If you have a whole board with people with different expertise and could not address the problem, the challenge that we are facing, and then you bring just one person, an administrator, and hoping that that person will stabilize. I'm not so sure. I mean, it could be a good person, could be a very capable person, but I think the problems are deeper, Hugo. The problem with NSFAS are deep. It's not just one person. You need to look at the organization itself. I don't think the organization has got capacity. If you don't have capacity, people with the right set of skills, there is no way that with the best men on top in your organization, you'll be able to implement.
Well,
again,
Professor,
of course, integrity.
If you allow me to come in, I mean, you raise an important issue. You raise an important issue, and that's the issue of ability. And you talk about the man on top. Well, the man on top is the minister, Dr. Blade Nzimande. Is he the right man to be handling this issue? Because you seem to suggest that the multiple changes of staff, of individuals that have various capabilities, which may not be the right capabilities, has not worked to deal with the problem of NSFAS, and the appointment of this single individual may not do the same. What about a change in the leadership and the leadership at the ministry level?
Yes, Hugo, there are three problems with NSFAS. It's a capacity within the organization. Then the second one is integrity, which is really result through corruption. Then the third one is authority. Authority means that it could be the board, it could be higher up, from government and so on. But we don't seem to have leadership that is able to steer this multi-billion, scheme that is very important for our young people. Whether it's from government, whether from the minister, but what we are saying from the organization side, is that from education side, you need strong leadership. Coming from government, coming from the board, which is the executive authority, of course, coming from the CEO, who is, of course, the accounting authority. So you need leadership. I think what we are not having at the moment is good leadership, strong leadership that can steer this multi-billion project that is so important for our young people. We really need to educate our young people if we want to bring a difference to this country, if we want to compete with other countries. So with this thing happening around education, I want to say to you, Hugo, this is regrettable. It is regrettable. It is unacceptable. It's not something that really this country should be really, be able to stand. This is very, very sad.
Well, Dr. Blade Nzimande raised the issue of the plight of students and how Hani would have responded to student challenges under Nzimande's leadership and what lessons can be drawn from his principles. So put yourself in Hani's shoes, if you will, for a moment. And what are the sort of questions that he would be raising around certainly his legacy and what he believed in and the actual execution or lack thereof?
Yeah, look, I think, to be honest, I think he will stand for integrity. He will stand for integrity. He always said, he will stand for integrity. Let's serve our people with honesty, because really, what led to these problems, challenges, the board dissolved, the CEO resigning, it's very clear. The Bergman investigative report is very clear that there was malfeasance going on in NSFAS. So, I think that is one thing that really, Hani was going to really to stand for. Let's be honest, let's be faithful. You cannot steal from your children. These are our kids. We cannot steal the bread of our children. Because it was clear there is corruption there. Now, that was saying we need governance. Strong governance, the ministry means if you see corruption, you need to act decisively. You don't have to wait until things get to the media. You need to provide, you need to look. If there's something, let there be consequences. Within the staff, let there be consequences. Whatever levels where you see this corruption, the government needs to act. Yes, I know they will say we've acted, we've dissolved the board. Yes, but the rot is still there within the organization itself. And I don't think the administrator is going to really address that rot.
Professor Madiba, you raise the issue of accountability, and that accountability, and you've suggested that government needs to do something. Do they need to do something with Dr. Blade Nzimande? I'm not getting a response to that. And I raise a question because there are issues that have impacted some of these students. A number of students have been killed on their way to university in the early hours of the morning because they want to beat the queue, because the system is slow. So early bird catches the worm. You have to be there early. And a student was stabbed at 5 o'clock in the morning because he was trying to beat that queue. We've had conversations with representatives of students who've talked about how many young girls are resorting to issues of resorting to prostitution in order to survive, where young men are forced to steal in order to survive. And these conversations have been going on for several months.
The situation is dire, Hugo. I'm a dean of a faculty at Stellenbosch, which the university is better compared to others. But I can tell you that the situation is dire. These young people are starving. Others have got nowhere to sleep. And not that there is no money. The budget is there. The billions are there. We know we've got over 50 billion. Just disbursing that money is a big problem. So if that is a problem, why not ask the universities to do that? Because universities have done that, I think, the first 2 months. But now in April, where NSFAS was supposed to step in, it's a disaster. So why government will want to centralize the disbursement of funds or try to get third parties? Why? I can't understand the logic. Universities are there, have got good infrastructure. There are universities that are really top infrastructure. Those that perhaps are weak can be strengthened, but let universities work. They have got these students in the system. They can disburse the money quickly to students, but why will government insist that they need a third party? I don't really get a good sense out of that. I don't understand why.
Now, how might this NSFAS crisis and student grievances affect youth engagement, voter sentiment, and political dynamics? It is, in fact, we're, I think, a few weeks away from May 29th elections. How critical is it going to be on how young people, particularly those that are in institutions of higher learning, are going to vote?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Definitely, if we grow up before democracy, we know the power of voting. I will still encourage young people to go and vote, but I think this will definitely influence how young people are going to vote.
Now, there have been numerous...
Others definitely will stay away, but it's not ideal. We encourage them to go and exercise their democratic right.
Now, are calls for Nzimande's resignation effective, and what alternative solutions could opposition parties propose? I mean, it is the eve of the election. For all intents and purposes, it is fair to assume that Dr. Blade Nzimande may not be head of this ministry post the election.
Yeah, look, I think you see the president need to look at how different institutions are functioning. So if you've got an institution like NSFAS, which is very, very critical to the future of the country, and things are not working, that's what I say, when it comes to authority governance, it goes into different levels, and there must be accountability. There must be consequences. If from government side, from the president, there need to be consequences if really, you are not getting what you have been expecting. Then from the board, like the minister dissolved the board. So that means the minister is expecting, is expecting accountability from the board. So I don't know, this should move up. Yeah.
Now, finally, what policy reforms and collaborative efforts are needed to create a sustainable system of student financial aid?
Yeah, look, I think, when NSFAS was conceptualized in 1991, it started with a very small amount, 21 million, it was a very modest, but that was a huge difference compared to the past. So, but, it grew up to now, we're talking of over 50 billion. So it managed to provide universal access to higher education, and we still need more participation into. So I think it's one fund that was really, really well conceptualized, but unfortunately, it's being run badly. This was the main, I think this was value for tax people, the tax that people are paying. At least you can see we are educating our next generation. Our kids are getting access to higher education. But unfortunately, for some reasons, it's just become, corrupted.
Professor, I was hoping that would be my last question, but you did talk about how familiar you are with some of the challenges that students are facing in universities, particularly as a result of failure to access funding and so on. Just paint a picture of us, for us, rather, of the implications of some of these struggles that these students are going through and what it does to their ability to learn and hopefully become educated. And does it have an implication on the length of time that they spend in these institutions?
Yeah, students who drop out, some apply at university, that the ones, again, they've been excluded, they want to come back. We ask them the reason. One of the key reasons why students have not done well, which then that's evident, in their motivation, in some of their submissions. Financial, they will tell you, I had no money, I could not travel to university every day, I had got no place to stay, I had no food. So it's real. You can't, the well-being of our students is as important as the academic programs that we give them. So if they are not well looked after, if they've got no food, they've got no place to stay, it's clear that even in the academic context, they are not going to do well. So we have, unfortunately, these are poor students who are coming from the poor backgrounds, who are dropping out. And these are the people that we want to bring into the system. So the situation is dire. It's dire as I'm talking now. I don't think that this thing of just changing an administrator in the middle, I don't think this is going to address. We need urgent action from the government to make sure that the money should be disbursed. And I would rather suggest that the recommendation, the decision that they've taken for February and March, that university disburse, that they should just disburse this money to universities and ask universities to implement immediately. I don't think the administrator who is going to set systems and trying to see how the money will be disbursed, there is no time for that. Students are dying. They are starving. I think money should just go to universities. Universities will disburse the money to students as quick as possible.